quick. We're going to go over the Eastern Conference matchups today. First matchup is the Leafs Blue Jackets. Um, I think that the Eastern Conference, I think the higher seeds are going to have a pretty easy time with who they're versing. Um, the Leafs, on the one hand, I think their defensive and goaltending has been shaky. Obviously, when you pay your top four offensive guys like half your budget, it's kind of tough to bring up everything else. The Blue Jackets, on the other hand, have terrific goaltending. They have Corpusalo, so I know Anderson's probably going to be in that. We'll see we'll see what Toronto can do if they can, because they're going to be able to either break down Corpusalo. Who knows, like at this point, how people are really feeling. So Corpusalo, say he comes back and he's on fire. Say Anderson comes back and he's on fire. That'd be great for the Leafs, but more likely Corpusalo is probably going to be playing great, and it's either up to the scorers to score more, to depth either chip in, or for their defense to step up. Because other than that, I think it's going to be tough to beat the Blue Jackets because of Corpusalo. Nylander is one of those guys who I think is going to step up in the playoffs. Last year he was abysmal. Just regular season, postseason was just not there. Still, like, if you're some random guy who just came on, had a good season, but for him did not have a good season. This year has been playing ridiculously amount better. So the addition of that is definitely going to be fucking great. Um, Marner, on the other hand, while he plays great, especially against the Blue Jackets, I think they played them fairly recently to the end of the year, and they literally lost the game because Mitch Marner was a fucking idiot. Now Mitch Marner just committed like back to back to back horrible plays that ended up in a opposing goal. So just being smarter with the puck, it was like he was curling out back towards behind his own net while he was on the right side. So coming back towards GLE, and some guy just comes in, just fucking takes it, strips it. Like there were so many opportunities to get rid of it. It was just a disgusting looking play. So and then the defense was bad too because he passed it off and Martin pressured a guy who already had a guy on him and it went back to his guy and just not a good look. And then Martin recovered the puck with his hand in the crease and it was like, what are you doing? So personal matchups. If Marner plays smart, I think they win those games. Uh, their power play, the Leafs power play, number six in the NHL. So that'll be really good. But their PK sucks. But it's alright because Columbus's power play is also horrible. Their PK is alright. It's a little bit better than average. Foligno for the Blue Jackets has to be better than he was last year. Last year, I mean, they had the first series sweep, but then after, even with that and all the more games played, his numbers still weren't as good as they should have been. He's a pretty big dude. I don't know if he wears the assistant captain or the captain on the team, but he's a good force for them. So I think if he plays better, it'll be good. And Josh Anderson will be back for them. So Josh Anderson has been out for a while, I think with like a torn labrum or something like that. So with him back, I think not only does that help your power play, but it also helps your entire team overall get the puck in the net. Because you really, with Corpusal on net, you really only need 3 goals to win. Uh, it'll be tough for the Blue Jackets to win this. I'm rooting for them because I feel like they remind me a lot like the Islanders last year, where everyone was like, "Oh, you just lost Panarin and Bobrovsky. Like, you guys aren't gonna be shit." And if they kept Panarin and got rid of Bobrovsky, damn. But I think logistically, this goes 4-2 to the Leafs. Actually, this is the first round. All these numbers don't even make sense because they're playing 5 games. Wow, I'm a fucking idiot. All right, so I'm gonna do this on the fly. I'm gonna do this on the fly. Fuck it. 5 games. I think it goes to 5 games. I think they can go 2-2. So I'm gonna give it 3-2 to the Leafs. As much as I don't want to see them win, and then they'll play who I think, because the 4 seeds aren't seeded. The top 4 seeds aren't seeded. They just have teams, and then you'll play for those seeds. I think number one will be Boston, so I think it'll be another rematch. So I'll give it to the Leafs 3-2 going on to play Boston. Next we have the Pens versus the Habs. who I think they're gonna go on and play the Lightning in Tampa Bay. Um, that would be the number 4. So it's number 5 versus number 12. Whoever wins that goes plays number 4. The only thing that I really see the Habs being able to pull out their ass is if Carey Price plays like fucking 2008 Carey Price or whenever the fuck he was popping off. Cause it's just, I mean, you got Letkinen, who's a good goal scorer, and you can play hockey. You got Max Domi, he's a good fucking hockey player. He's a scrapper. Um, you got Tatar. Tatar is a great skater. I think he'll play well. And I think Kovalchuk will want to play well, especially because the whole reason why he wanted to be traded from, I think, LA was to make the playoffs. So squeezed in. Had to be a fucking pandemic to do so. But that'll be tough. But on the other side, it's like, yo, for the Penguins, who do you play for goaltender? Do you play Matt Murray, or do you play Tristan Jarry? I think you play Jarry because Jarry's been playing better this whole year. I don't know what the chemistry is like inside that room. I don't watch every single one of their games, but it definitely felt like Tristan Jarry has been playing better from what I've been hearing from experts around the league. Jason Zucker was a fantastic addition at the end of the fucking at the end of the trade deadline. So they added him, and he comes in like second game or something like that, has 2 goals. Him playing with Crosby, it's gonna be ridiculous. Their chemistry is already through the roof. Thank God they fucking stopped the season because that shit would have been tough to fucking deal with. Special team wise, the Penguins are better in power play and penalty kill, top 10 penalty kill. Um, so the Habs are gonna. I think it's gonna be tough for them to make it more than Game 4. So honestly, I see this. I'll give them one. I'll give it 3-1. Best of 5, 3-1 to the Pens. I'll go Pens, Habs will steal one, and then Pens. The Habs didn't really end too well. The Penguins didn't really end too well, but I think their last couple games they ended kind of well. So while obviously going straight into the playoffs, this would actually matter a lot more. But I still think if you ended off the season bad, good for you because now you don't have to deal with that shit. But on the other hand, if you ended off the season good, I think that'll kind of carry in to where you are now. Because you're like, oh, bro, we're just playing great hockey. Like, let's just get right back to it. Well, it's a little. I mean, you're like 3 months removed of playing your last game. It'll still be like, like we had a good team. Just the self confidence should probably still be there. And then you got guys coming back healthy. So every team will have some guy coming back healthy. But some teams it'll help more than others. So getting into that, obviously the Islanders. So the Islanders have Pelech, Cizikas, and Clutterbuck all out. Pelech was skating today. Cizikas should be back, and Clutterbuck should be back. Guys who I think need to step up and who will be like game changers for the Islanders. I think it's going to be Pajot, who they also just traded for at the deadline, and then you also have Jordan Eberle, who was killing it last year against the Penguins. Came out right away, was just fucking lightning hot. On the other side, the Panthers, the Panthers ended like their season not too bad, 5-4-2 in like the past like 3 weeks and like 2 days. The Islanders were horrible. They were 2-5-4, losing a lot of games in overtime. They were on a huge losing streak in the I guess the end of the season, and then they literally turned around like at the last like second. So turned around, losing in overtime games. I don't really know, but Panthers definitely ended up their season a little bit better. Their power play is gonna be sick, because I mean you got guys like Mike Hoffman, you guys like Aaron Ekblad, you got guys like Dadonov, fucking I'm forgetting like fucking Aaron Ekblad. I think I just said him. I don't even know, but their top like 4 guys, 5 guys are just gonna be fucking ridiculous. So it'll be hard to stop those guys because their top is so talented. Their depth, I'm not 100% sure if they're like super deep, But I think something that the Islanders will be able to be better than them at is goaltending. Bobrovsky hasn't really been the greatest goaltender this year. Um, and then the Panthers have a number 10 power play, so this is what kind of was getting at before. They have that great power play. If they could just get some power play goals, and if Bobrovsky could just keep it to 3 goals a game, that's a win. That's a win. Because honestly, the Islanders' penalty kill is super average. Their power play is fucking horrible. The Panthers don't have a great penalty kill either, but the Islanders' power play is literally just so disgusting that it doesn't even matter. So I think if the Panthers' key to this is if Bobrovsky can just literally 3 goals a game against average, I think that they'll be able to score. It has to be below 3. But I think that the Panthers, if they can capitalize on their power plays, will take the series. Although personally, I don't really see that happening. I got this going 3-2 to the Islanders. As biased as I am, and as much as I would fucking hate to say it, I do feel like most of these series are gonna go like a decent amount, like the 5 games, because I feel like you take 2 games, but then you just come back and you win 2 games. Like the swing isn't gonna be crazy, but I don't know. It'll be interesting being at a neutral site. So who really knows? That's why gambling for this year is gonna be kind of rough. Um, but yeah, obviously I got to take the Islanders. Like they're my team. So rough. I could imagine the Panthers doing it if Bobrovsky stands on his head and the power play is ridiculous. And other than that, I think the Islanders will take this one. Um, and then with the matchup that I think is actually going to be the most interesting to watch in the East is the Hurricanes versus the Rangers. You have a team that's a lot like the Islanders, where they play a defensive game even better than the fucking Islanders do sometimes. Um, the Canes haven't had particularly amazing goaltending this season, um, but their power play has been fucking eighth in the league. So pretty good with that, and then their penalty kill is even better at fourth in the league. So that's gonna be tough to fucking deal with, because I think, especially with these short series, if you can get like a decent swing going, and if you're really able to have your special teams come through, I think that you'll be able to beat the Canes, at least for this instance. I think that's a big plus because they don't score like a fuck ton. Like they have Chesnikov, they have fucking Aho. I mean, they have Jacob Slave, and they have a bunch of dudes who are talented individuals. But it's just the fact that you're going up against the Rangers. Like the Rangers can put the puck in the net while they can't keep it out of the net. We'll see who starts for the Rangers. Actually, I mean, you have that Panarin, Zibanejad, Strome line. You've got Tony DeAngelo, and you've got Adam Fox, who are great defensemen who are all playing really well. So you'll see how they'll do. You probably don't start Hank. It's good to have Hank. Like, I think if you have more goaltenders, it'll be better for those earlier rounds, especially if you're not sure who you want to play. Um, like for the Islanders, maybe you give Grice one start. I don't know. Like you'll see how it goes. Um, for the Pens, you're probably giving them all to Jari. For the Habs, you're definitely giving them all to Price. For the Leafs and Blue Jackets, the Blue Jackets are the only team, or another team that I think could swap. I don't know who the other guy is. I forget his name. But you have Corpusal and another guy who has been a pretty decent tandem this season. The Leafs, I think, have to stick with Anderson because I think they traded for a goalie, but it wasn't the best option. Canes, on the other hand, they have Mrazek and another guy. I forget what his name is, but I think they go with Mrazek, and I think the Rangers go with fucking Igor. So I have no idea how to pronounce his last name. Like absolutely no idea. Um, but yeah, if you can somehow minimize their power play for the Rangers, which you can for if you're a Hurricanes fan, you can. You have the fourth best penalty kill in the league, and then you're pretty good with um, your power play. And Rangers have a good power play, bad penalty kill. Their defense, like them, if you can put the puck in the net on them, And if you're just able to minimize, I mean, I know it sounds simple, but if you're able to minimize the amount of pucks that they're putting into your net, it's a pretty good look. So you got the Canes finishing the season at 5-4-2, Rangers 7-5-1. You know, not like super different, but Rangers definitely left off on the best vibe out of the entire East. You know, like Leafs ended up 500, Columbus 500, Pens below 500, Habs below 500, Panthers 1 game over 500, Islanders way below 500, Canes 1 game over 500. Rangers are the only team that's like that were on like a hot streak of these beginning teams. Honestly, I'm gonna give this to the Rangers, and I'm gonna give it to them in 4 games. I'm gonna say they win 3 and they lose 1. Uh, that one, that one's my, I guess my outlier. It's the only one that I have the lower seed winning in. Um, I'll go over the Western Conference in a different video, but because I'm still working on the last couple ones. But I think out of that other fucking side, I think Coyotes. I think the 11 spots have good matchups. Um, and then I think Boston gets number 1, Washington gets number 2, Flyers get number 3, Lightning get number 4. Just a first glance at it, Leafs, Boston. Boston, obviously. Probably in 7, and probably like in a ridiculous fashion that the Leafs just can't fucking imagine. Pens, Lightning. I don't fucking like the Lightning, and I think the Pens are probably better. Um, so we'll see what happens with that. Fuck the Lightning though. Fuck the Pens too though. I don't know. I hate that matchup. Um, Great, like good superstars, probably good for the sport, but fuck those two teams. Islanders, Washington. As much I hate to say it, Washington is probably gonna. I think that series could go 7. Probably gonna go 6 though. To be honest, if I had to be a fucking, we'll see how everything goes, but I would say 6. Rangers, Flyers. I got Flyers easy. As much as I like to say that the Rangers are playing fucking great hockey, the Flyers ended up like ended their season playing way better. They might have fucking won Stanley Cup if this shit never went down. So, um, so we got Leafs 3-2, Pens 3-1, Isles 3-2, Rangers 3-1, and then moving on, I'd say Leafs versus Boston, Boston, Pens versus Lightning, Pens. Islanders, Washington, Washington, and then Rangers, Flyers, Flyers. So we'll see what happens. My dark horse definitely the Rangers. I think my biggest lock would be the Pens, but we'll see. I'm a fucking retard, so we'll see what happens.